Hey guys, what's going on? For the first time in a little over a year, it's Jay the Reporter coming at y'all once again. Look, I know it's been a while. Had to get some things in my life in order. Real life happened. I decided to just attack life, take that full year, attack life full on with my son, with my lady, getting things straight with the residents. Now we're in a new spot. I'm ready to start getting it going. And of course, y'all know I was going to get it back going with football. But also, really quick, if y'all want to catch more content coming from your boy, I'm also on a podcast called Off the Sticks. I put I'll pin a comment to every video I do, linking y'all to that page and check out that podcast. It's me, my boy Mike, my boy Corey, and we are raw on there. We're talking sports, and then we have a podcast for gaming. So we got one show for sports, one show for gaming. So just to kind of get y'all what we got going on there. It's very interesting. I suggest y'all check that out. But I know the reason why you guys are here. The reason you're here is for ultimately where you gonna place your money on Sunday morning outside of the collection plate if you're religious. So here we go. We're gonna get it started. Week 1, first matchup tomorrow night. I'm recording this on Wednesday. So tomorrow night, first game, Bills-Rams. What I thought was gonna wind up being a Super Bowl, which wasn't because of a damn coin flip, but that's beside the case. The spread on that is 2, and it's in favor of the Bills. I honestly don't like picking against teams that are as talented as the Rams on both sides of the ball, but this any team that I would pick ahead of them, even going off last year, it would have been the Bills. I believe the Bills are going to come into this game just a little bit more prepared and a whole lot more hungry than what the Rams are. Like the Rams are the last team up from the table. And when I say that, I'm talking about, look, they walked away with jewelry. I'm not saying they're satisfied, but they're definitely not as hungry as the Buffalo Bills. Let's just be honest in that. And I believe coming out week 1, the Bills want to prove a point. I think the Rams want to prove a point. So technically, when I say y'all this before, that the spread typically, if it's less than 3, you're typically picking a winner. In this game, I'm taking the Bills. Hands down, I'm just going to take the Bills. So I'm taking the Bills -2. There's your money line right there. Coming up next game, 49ers, Bears. I'll be honest with you, the Bears, if it wasn't for the Seattle Seahawks, would probably be the worst team in all of football. And the 49ers are a very confusing team to people who don't understand what front offices do. So what I'm looking at right now, the 49ers, the spread is 7. And with this kind of a game, the way I look at the Niners is the wins that they're going to get are going to come very cheaply. I know they're going to wind up playing the Cardinals. I think they played the Cardinals once during the 6-game suspension of D-Hop, so that's a win there. But they get the Bears. Like, a lot of their easier games are early. So they can, I'm not saying that you want to lose a football game when you're out there, but you definitely can afford to drop a couple if you've already started off really hot. The Cardinals proved that last year. Now, granted, you still want to play for the bye because only one team gets it. But I seriously think the Niners, they're middling on offense outside of what they can do on the ground and trying to find a way to get Kittle the ball or find a way to get Debo the ball and get him in space so he can create and they can be explosive. And if there's any team you want to try your best to, I say, get kind of freaky with it on the field, I definitely try Chicago. They're a team they're non-threatening. There's no real weapons outside of Justin Fields on offense. Maybe Montgomery, but there's really nothing more that you really have to worry about going against the Bears. So I think even the 49ers, with how limited they can tend to be offensively, I think they'll be able to put up enough points to cover the spread here. So take the Niners against the spread. Next game up, Browns, Panthers. One of 3 revenge games that you're going to get here is going to be Baker against the Browns. And I'll be honest with you, I said it all year, last year, just talking with my homeboys and everything. Actually, I said it over the last 2 years. The Panthers are one of the best bad teams in all of football. They're not going to get the doors blown off them. They're not going to blow the doors off anyone. They're going to be within about 3 to 6 points of every single team they play. That's just who they are. That's just the makeup, the composition of that team. That's who they are. That's what they are. That's where they sitting. And when I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at the Panthers to come out on top. It's a home game. They're trying to be a little rejuvenized. I think Baker's going to come out and play like a man on fire. I honestly believe that, at least for this week, I think he'll come out and play like a man on fire. And honestly, that's the only week that's important right now because it's the first game up. So I'm taking the Panthers against the spread in this one, 1.5. Like I said, if it's less than 3, you're typically just picking a winner because not a lot of football games end up your team winning by 1 or 2 points. It's more rare than you would think. Now, next game, Colts, Texans. The Texans are one of those teams, I would say, one of the worst teams in all of football. And when you look at a team like the Texans and I look at a team like the Colts are trying their best to just tread water. They're honestly the one team year over year that hasn't really improved and haven't really gotten worse. It's really weird to me. So they've had 3 quarterbacks over the last 3 seasons. Matt Ryan this year, last year with, what was that boy's name? Not really all that good. Carson Wentz. And then the year before that, they had Phillip Rivers and he retired. So 3 quarterbacks in 3 seasons. Clearly, this team is going to be one that's going to ground and pound it and get it done. Who I feel really bad for are receivers like a Michael Pittman, who has the ability to be a very special receiver. But when you don't have the same guy getting you the ball, you can't build that rapport. And that's very important to be able to build the rapport, to be able to kind of get things flowing offensively. Now, granted, they are in a division that's low-key kind of open. I think maybe Jacksonville has a good shot in it. But honestly, it's Colts, maybe Titans, depending on how well they look week 1. I'm really not that concerned with them. They have really no weapons outside of Derrick Henry. So I don't know how they're going to score. My boy Mike actually really exposed that yesterday on the podcast. And it made a lot of sense to me. I was like, you know what? He hit the nail on the head with that one. So I'll give him credit where credit's due. Now, with that being the case, I take the Colts against the spread. The spread's 7. Now, it's hard for me. You guys know it's hard for me to pass up a touchdown. You give me 6. You give me a score, a full score, a trip down the field to the end zone. Typically, I take that. But I'm looking at the Colts. I'm looking at the Texans. And who do I trust to explode? I trust the Colts more than the Texans to explode, so I'll roll with that. Now, next matchup, Lions, Eagles. This matchup is going to be a lot closer than people think. I really like what Detroit's trying to do. They're not going to play outside of themselves. Detroit never really does. And for what the record may show, Detroit really never gets blown out for the most part. They always play Green Bay close, Minnesota close. Take a look at some of the closer games last year. You can flip 4 of those games. 4 of those wins, 4 of those losses they had could have easily flipped. And then you look at Detroit for a wild card. So legitimately, this team is on the cusp of doing something that can catch the league off guard. So I'm looking at it that way. I believe they can. So I'm looking at the Eagles in this matchup. It's Jalen Hurts, he has all these weapons now. A lot of people are believing in him. And to be honest with you, that's a lot of pressure for a quarterback that I don't trust. Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. I do not trust Jalen Hurts. So I'm just kind of going, if he proves me wrong, I hope he does. I hope he proves me wrong. But I've yet to really see it. That Saints game from a couple years ago still sticks out in my mind. I try to get past it, and I can't. I just can't. So, with all that said, I'm still going to take the Eagles against the spread, -4. I just think they're probably a touchdown better than the Lions. So I think it's easier for them to cover. Next game is Jags, Commanders. Spread is 2.5, and it's in favor of the Commanders. And I'll be honest with you, the Jags are a surprise team. And like I said, my boy Mike really opened my eyes when it came down to this team. And when he said that, you know, this team is coming in, they're really talented. They're also one thing that you want to be when you're pretty young and getting really talented. You want to be off the radar. You don't get really much more off the radar than playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars, no matter how good you are. Some guys just aren't on anyone's radar. That's why they don't really produce a lot of Pro Bowlers. So, because they're typically off the radar. So when you're looking at a team that's off the radar like this, the Jaguars can really surprise you. I'm going to take the Jags with the points because I think the Jags are going to win that game. So if you're going to give me 2.5 and I still think they're going to win, I'll take it. And that's exactly where it's going with that. So I'll take the Jags there. Honestly, I will take the Jags. Next game, Pats, Dolphins. It pains me to do this, but I seriously think when you're looking at a team, you got a newer head coach, You got a lot of newer weapons. It's going to take time for that thing to gel. And then I'm looking at a team that's already concrete. They know who they are. They know what they want to do. And you're going to give them 3.5. I know the game's in Miami, but here's the key. It's Miami in September versus Miami in December. Big difference when you're used to playing cold games, when you got New York, when you got Buffalo, when you're playing in New England. You're used to a cold environment. Like, legitimately, more than 80% of your schedule is played in a cold climate. So when you can start off your season and one of your warm weather games is early, and now you know they got to come to you typically when it's a little bit cooler, that means you may get another shot at it to sweep. If this is going to be the case for New England, I'm going to take that just because of the stability. Give me New England, give me the 3.5, and I'm going to walk away with a dub there. Now, next matchup, you got the Ravens, you got the Jets. Give me the Jets plus the touchdown. It kind of pains me to do that because I think the Ravens are, they're good, but they're not great. They're in a weird spot. Like, if they make the playoffs, okay, that's what you're supposed to do. If you miss the playoffs, it wouldn't surprise me. They're a very strange bunch. So, no real wide receivers to speak of, so you're not going to be that electric. If I know you're going to run the ball, why not fill up the box and just stack a linebacker and a safety over Andrews? And honestly, what can you do to me outside of handing off to Dobbins or just let Lamar run loose? Those are the only two options that you truly have if I shut down Mark Andrews. So if I don't give you that, you have nothing. And Lamar has not proven to me as a passer. I've said it before. It's pissed people off. And honestly, I don't give a damn. This is going to be what it is. The Ravens are who they are. They're showing that they are who they are. They're not going to give Lamar weapons. They're not going to pay that man what he's worth. And this is going to show this season. I know he wants to ball out. I know the Ravens want to win. But I tell you right now, the Ravens are who they are. And they're showing us why they are who they are. And they're going to show us when they mess around and not cover this spread, because I think the Jets are going to come in comfortable. And that's a big thing for a young team. They're going to come in comfortable. Like I said, typically when you give me a touchdown, I'm taking it. And this is one of those situations where I'm going to take the touchdown because that means I'm starting off this game kicking 7-0. I'll take that. Next game up, Saints, Falcons, 3.5 spread. And I'll be honest with you, I like the Falcons in this matchup. It's week 1. Marcus Mariota, not really a ton of film on what he can do with this bunch because he's new there. I believe once you get to week 3, 4, then the Falcons will fall back down to reality. But I think this is a game where if you want to try to catch good money early, this is where you stick it. Right here, Falcons Saints 3.5 spread. The Saints didn't really add a whole lot. They didn't get a lot taken away. They kind of are a copy and paste of what they were last year, minus the injuries. So if they can stay healthy, I still like the Saints overall. But I'm going to take the Falcons early in this one. They give me 3.5, which means this game can end in a 3-point game, and I still get the dub. I'll take that. I'll take the risk on that. Next up, Steelers, Bengals. Now, this matchup surprised me a little bit last year. I had the Bengals finishing dead last in the division last year. I truly did. I didn't think they added enough to just blow the way they did, but it worked. And typically when something like that blows early, the Bengals have to show me they can be consistent with it. The Steelers have shown me they can be consistent if they blow early. The Ravens have shown that if they blow early, they can be consistent. But those Ohio football teams outside of Ohio State have not shown me this. So if this is going to be the case for them, this is where things are going to sit. This is how I'm looking at it. I'm going to take the Steelers with 6.5 in this game because the Steelers are going to try their best to muck this game up. I believe Trubisky is going to be just fine until they hand the reins over. But I'll be honest with you, this is going to be a game that's low-key, and I do mean it's low-key, a trap game for the Bengals because no one in their right mind is going to pick the Steelers to win this game. Now, my boy Mike said that my boys can do it. I hope we can. Do I believe it? We'll see. But I don't think this is going to really be the case, but if you're going to give me the Steelers for 6.5, that's damn near a touchdown. Give it to me. I'll take it. Next matchup, Chiefs, Cardinals. Here's another situation where you're giving me 6, but I'm not going to take it. And here's the reason for that. You're missing your biggest weapon. And the other guy that you depended on for the bulk of your career is no longer on that field with you and Christian Kirk. So you're throwing to newer targets and knowing that you're really that comfortable with. Now, you have a good ground game. I would suggest leaning there, but I don't think running the football and then trying to play catch up to Patrick Mahomes is going to be good enough for you to win that game. So I'm taking the Chiefs -6 because of Andy Reid, because they're coming in healthy. They're coming in with no suspensions. The offensive line is a shade better. It couldn't be any worse than it was over the last 2 years. I'll take the Chiefs in that one, -6, because I think they're going to wind up probably hanging about 13 plus as far as the spread goes. I'll take that. Next game, Giants, Titans, New York football. I'm sorry. If you want good football in the state of New York, you got to go upstate. This is literally just about how bad it's gotten. Now, the Jets are promising. I see what they're building. I don't know what the hell they're doing with the Giants. I don't know what the Giants are doing. They still have Danny Dimes as a starter, which is honestly is sad. After 4 seasons, it is sad. It is honestly sad. And I just can't see this working out for them at all. I think the Titans, they got lucky in this one by getting the draw of New York in week 1. So you can actually kind of see where you are with this team. You can try some things that you normally wouldn't try against a division rival in week 1. So you're going against a weaker team. You're going against a team that really doesn't have an identity. The Giants don't have an identity. I mean, you can say that Saquon is their offensive identity, but your offensive identity has been missing over the last 2 years due to injury. So I don't know who or what you are. I don't know if Saquon is going to be the same one I saw 3 years ago. I don't know if he's going to come back as that guy. So if I don't know that, I'm not leaning on that. I don't care if they're giving you 5.5. I don't trust the offense to put up points. I don't trust your defense to stop a nosebleed. So I'm going to roll with the Titans -5.5, but it's literally not because of Tennessee. It's all because of New York. Next matchup, Packers, Vikings. I got the Vikings winning the division. Be honest with you. NFC North, it goes through Minnesota this year. I don't believe you can just bleed weapons the way that Green Bay has and still say we run this. Now, in many cases, I do lean to that quarterback. And I know a lot of people say, well, Tom Brady ran his division and he didn't have a lot of weapons. Yeah, but the division sucked for a long time. That division was terrible for a long time. The Bills didn't know what they were doing until they got Josh Allen. Miami was nice for a little bit. They were always at best an 8-8 ball club. The Jets had a small run about the mid-2010s, like the 2009 to 11, they were straight. But it was kind of meh at best. I mean, they got to a couple of AFC title games, but that was all because of defense. And then on top of that, I don't even think they won the division. They still didn't win the division. Miami's the only team that's won it outside of Buffalo and New England. But that's beside the point. Now, looking at this matchup, Packers-Vikings, the spread, I believe, my handwriting is terrible. I believe it's 1.5. That means I'm picking a winner. I think the Vikings going into it at home are going to want to assert dominance here. And when I'm looking at these teams offensively, one might did say, hey, you got a diamond playing with sterling silver. That's Green Bay. But I got these gold pieces, a lot more gold pieces playing alongside of sterling silver. So the value matches out. But I'll be honest with you, where the gold is in Minnesota, to me, matters. And it's at wide receiver, it's at running back. Their O-line's really good as well. And Kirk Cousins is a serviceable guy. I think he's good enough to get them there. So I will roll with that. So I'll take the Vikings to win this matchup. Everything's kind of playing in their favor anyway. Next one, Raiders, Chargers. To me, as far as me believing in a coach, me believing in a culture, the Chargers need it. but the Raiders are better in all aspects of this game. To me, right now, the Raiders are better. I'm going to go with the Raiders. The spread's 3.5. I'm taking the Raiders. I just believe in them a little bit more than I do the Chargers. Now, it wouldn't shock me if the Chargers pull this out. I mean, the spread's 3.5, which technically means I'm still close to just picking a winner. 3.5 means I still can win it if they lose by a field goal. So I'll take it. Give me the Raiders plus 3.5 because the last couple times these teams met, it came down to that. I'll take that, and I'll take the Raiders because they showed me that when the chips are down, they can and will win it. Next matchup. This is the nightcap for Sunday, the busiest day in the entire year because everybody and their mama is going to be stuck in front of their TV. And I know one TV that's going to be bumping real loud, and it's going to be that TV in Durham, North Carolina at my mama's house. Bucks, Cowboys. Spread's 2.5, and I'll be honest with you, I would have took Dallas if the line was better. I mean, I say line, I'm not talking about the line here, not the spread. I'm talking about the line, their offensive line. Because the missing Lyle Collins, he's no longer on the team. You had the starting right tackle, for some reason his name escapes me. He's done, no, like I said, meat came off the bone of his leg. He's done. They just signed Jason Peters, which is good, but he's not going to be ready to play week 1. The Brothers got there like 4 minutes ago. So that's not going to happen. So you got all that working against you. And on top of that, you don't really have a number 2 receiver that's going to be ready to go on Sunday night. So it's legitimately CeeDee Lamb, a group of guys. Now, if I trust the quarterback to be able to throw to nothing and get it done, I'll trust Dak to do that. Because he was doing it before they got Amari Cooper. He was getting it done then in his rookie year before they got Amari Cooper. Now, this particular matchup with the Bucks to me are, it wouldn't shock me if they got to the Super Bowl. It wouldn't shock me if they won it. But something about this team just doesn't really click. Like, it doesn't click for me. Like I say, oh, we got the Bucks. Yeah, I think we could beat them. Like they're there now. They're at that point. So with that being the case, I'm gonna still take the Bucks plus 2.5. So effectively, like I said, if it's less than 3, you're effectively picking a winner. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks in week 1 on this one. And the last matchup of the night, of the week, is the most melodramatic matchup in all of football in week 1, ladies and gentlemen. That would actually be the Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks. And I'll be honest with you, only reason why this game is on Monday Night Football is simply because it is Russell Wilson against the Seattle Seahawks. That is the only reason why. Because any game that you're going to put on primetime and you got Geno freaking Smith as the other starter, there's a huge issue. Now, had this game been in 2014, maybe that's a different look. But at this point, the answer is no, baby. No, baby, no. So, I'm going to let y'all know, the last season that I did against the spread videos was 2020. And I had over 200 correct calls. Now, since there is one more week, meaning that there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There'll be 16 extra games. My win total for the year, I'm trying to hit is 250. That's the goal. So hold me to it, 250. I will track it the entire season. I'll let you know where we all stand. But you guys let me know what you think about these picks down in the comment section below. My name is Jay the Reporter, signing out. Peace.